In this video, we address a question that was submitted via the internet. And if you have a question that you would like to have considered for an upcoming video, you can send it to me at thegreatlovestoryofyourlife@gmail.com. Now, this is not an attempt to provide 5-minute therapy, but rather to give you some perspectives for you to consider as you look at changes in your life. Hi, thanks for stopping by. This video is a continuation or a follow-up of a previous video. That video was a short video, and a young man had asked, is it possible to restart your life at 28? And then he wrote, I've grown up with lots of problems and now finally feel okay. I'm moving to a new city next month where I know one person. I want to build my career there and meet new people. We talked about that in that video, and after that he had a few other questions that he submitted, and I'd like to talk about them today because they're very important. He had 3 additional questions. The first one was, how do I focus on my new life? And then he asked, how do I make new friends? And how do I be the person I want to be? I'd like to talk about the first one first. How do I focus on my new life? Well, young man, I don't know the particulars of your situation. I know you've been through some difficult times, I gather, from your first question. But it has to start with you being specific about when you say you want a new life, or that you're working on a new life, and this applies to all of us. Specifically, what does that mean? It's like shooting an arrow. If you want to shoot an arrow, you have to have a target. You have to know what you're shooting at, or you'll be aimless. You don't know where the arrow will go. So to get the most power out of what you do, you have to have a sense of direction. So it's important to ask yourself, what is that new life? What does it mean for you? And a technique to help develop that is to use your imagination. Ask yourself, if I'm living this new life, and what that means for you, I don't know. But ask yourself, if I'm living this new life, what will it look like? What will I be doing? How will I be talking? What will I be saying? How will I be working? Where will I be living? How exactly what will be happening in my life? Use your imagination. The reason for that is it helps give you detail in terms of exactly what will be going on in your life. Then you will know what you want to work toward, what you want to work. You'll know what your targets are if you know what you'll be doing and how your life will be, and what your friends will be like, what kind of friends will they be, and so on. That gives you a specificity. It gives you specifics that you can work toward. So that's what I would suggest you do. Is how do you focus on it? Because then once you realize this is what you want for your life, and this is what my life will look like when I have the life that I want, then you know what to work for. And then keep those images in your mind as you go through the day and live that life. The life you imagine for yourself. You know, imagination is a powerful thing. Most of what we do, most of what we think, most of what we believe is quite arbitrary. And so imagination can often be looked at as maybe a frivolous thing. You know, it's dreaming, it's just making up things. But we live our lives quite a bit by things that aren't necessarily true. And so imagination is a very powerful thing, because even though it hasn't happened yet and we're imagining it, it has a powerful effect on what we do. So imagine how your life will be. Close your eyes in a quiet room and imagine it. And then work toward those things. When you get up in the morning to go out to work, act as if those things are happening and that's the way your life is. And a funny thing will happen if you do that. You'll begin to see that your life is heading in that direction. So that's what I would suggest that you do. Without knowing the specifics of your goals and objectives, it's hard to be too detailed in what you might do. But this is a general technique that can be quite helpful. How do I make new friends? Well, the first thing, I think one of the cardinal rules of having friends is to be friendly. Be accessible. Be someone that people would want to be friends with. Be open, look for the humor, be kind, be willing to talk to people, be friendly. And people like that. I mean, everyone likes people that are easy to talk to or just nice to talk to. That makes them feel good that they're chatting with you, whether it's just a common conversation in an elevator or at work or with neighbors or people we meet. So that's the first thing, is be friendly. Another thing that can be very helpful is to be accessible. And what I mean by that is put yourself in places where you will meet people and network. For example, let me give you an example. I like music. And I have my amplifier right here. I like music. And what I found when I started playing music and going out to jams and open mic situations and things, is that I not only met other musicians that had the same thing in common. We loved music of all genres. We just loved music. But there were people in the audience that didn't play music that I got to know too. So I got to meet some wonderful people, musicians and non-musicians, by putting myself in the situation where I could meet other people. Maybe you like fishing. Then look for a fly fishing class or a fishing club, or maybe you like biking. Well, there are lots of biking clubs around, and that where you could meet a lot of other people. And the other thing that I found with my interest in music is that I met people in the music situations that had other interests. So we ended up doing many other things that had nothing to do with music, because I would meet them there, and then in talking to them, I would find out, oh, you like this too, or you have an interest in that too, and we would end up going off in a different direction and meeting new people. It's like a spider web. And so this networking, but you have to put yourself in it's like at a dance. If you go to a dance but sit in the corner in the dark, you're not making yourself accessible. But if you sit with other people and you ask someone to dance, for example, and so forth, you're making yourself accessible, and you're much more likely to meet people, and you're much more likely then to have those people turn into friends. But you have to be accessible. So, but being friendly is the key, because if you try to be accessible and meet people, but you're not a very fun person to be around or friendly person to be around, then people aren't going to want to be around you. So be aware of being someone that someone would want to be friends with, and then put yourself in positions. It could be volunteering in the community. Agencies are always looking for volunteers, and what happens? Not only are you doing a wonderful thing, but you're meeting other people. You're getting to know other people who, again, may have other interests that you have in common, and now you've met a whole different group of people. You went to volunteer at a community picnic, and you ended up now you're in groups that had nothing to do with that, because you met some people there, and they said, well, why don't you come along on our outing when we do our thing a week from now. And so that's how friendship works. It's networking. It's like a spider web. But you have to put yourself in situations where you're accessible. And the last question, how do I be the person I want to be? Well, that's the $50,000 question. It's a really simple answer. How do I be the person I want to be? Just be yourself. So much of what we do and how we live our life is dependent on our past, the baggage and the garbage, the things that have happened in our past. And you mentioned a few things too that you may have gone through. I don't know what they are, but they no doubt left scars of some kind, or memories that were painful. And that's we know that. We all go through things like that. What we don't want to do is drag that stuff around with us like a ball and chain. You don't need to drag it around. What happened, happened. It may have been terrible, or it may have been embarrassing. It may have been humiliating. But at this point, it's done. And so part of being the person you want to be is to let the past go. You must let the past go. The other part is not worrying and fretting about the future. The future is unknown. It's uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. We have hopes and fears and aspirations, but you know, at this moment right here, I can't even tell you if I'm going to be alive tomorrow or in an hour. But you have to let the future go. So if you let the future go and you let the past go, it's not about getting amnesia and forgetting it, pretending things never happened, but it's letting them go. It's saying, yes, those things happened, and they happened to me, or they happened because of me, but let them go. And what do you have left? You have this moment right now, this present moment right now. And in that vacuum, I guess would be a good word, be yourself. Be who you are. Be who you want to be. Let the expectations and the pressures of what you think you should be, what you think you should say, let that go. That's part of your past, really. Your upbringing and training and so on. Let that go, and in this moment, just be at peace and be the person you want to be. Be genuine. Be real. I tell you, if you can get to that point where you can forget the future, let it take care of itself, forget the past, and just be yourself. It's such a peaceful, wonderful feeling. Just to not try to impress anybody. Just say, I love myself. This is how I want to be. This is who I want to be. It is such a wonderful feeling. You don't have to act in a play. You just be yourself. And it's such a wonderful feeling. And I wish you the best of luck as you work on these things. Again, as I said in the previous video, I have a great amount of respect for you. You're such a perceptive young man who wants to make a better life for themselves, and I know you're going to do it. I can tell. The very fact that you're asking questions like this and moving in these directions, I don't think there's any stopping you. and I wish you the best of luck.